Hey, this is Bryson. Thanks for tuning to my YouTube channel, Jack of Trades. In this video, I'm going to go over these two Dolphins that I managed to pick up recently off of eBay. These don't come up very often. I've never seen them until recently, and then two popped up, and I was able to get both of them for a decent price, I think. Well, decent is relative. If you go back and look at some of the blog posts, people have been able to pick these up for 10 or 20 bucks from Craigslist in the past, but with the vintage market the way it is now, these are considerably more expensive these days. So here I have a used Dolphin I picked up initially. Primarily, I mean, it looked like it was in decent condition. So a little bit about the Dolphins. I know I've kind of gone off the deep end on these Aristo-Craft Hitec RC cars. So back in 1987, Hitec essentially released 4 models on the same chassis. They have the Kangaroo, the Koala, the Dolphin, and the Wildebeest. The Kangaroo is kind of the high-end two-wheel drive version, with the Koala being the lower-end two-wheel drive version. And then the Dolphin was a 4-wheel drive version of the buggy, and the Wildebeest was a 4-wheel drive version. It was basically a 4-wheel drive off-road truck. I picked up this used Dolphin initially because I was looking for the body as well as the wheels, and I just wanted to get my hands on a Dolphin. I actually have enough parts to build up a Dolphin from scratch, but it's kind of going off of assumptions and pictures, and now that I actually have a real one in my hands, I can use that as a model for building up the one that I have from pieces. And then shortly thereafter, this came up and I snagged it. So this is presumably a new unboxed Dolphin. The box has some significant wear and tear. It almost smells like the box is soaked in kerosene or some kind of oil. But the car is essentially in mint condition. It's never been run. Just the box is somewhat damaged. And we'll get into an unboxing of this, and we'll go over this a little bit, as this was a runner, and so it's got some wear and tear, and it's got some kind of unique aftermarket part changes, I guess, or upgrades, whatever you want to call them. And I actually have yet to test this, so I don't know if the speed controller works, but we'll get into this car as well. So with that, I will go ahead and flip the camera around and we can dig into these two cars. Thanks for tuning in and watching. Alright, so first let's get into the new unboxed car, and then we can look at how the used car varies from the stock version of the vehicle. So we open up the box and we're greeted with some manuals, both for the pistol grip Aristo-Craft radio system and the Dolphin instruction manual. I don't think I've seen a PDF version of this online, so I might go ahead and scan this and share it. There's really not a lot of information out there about the Dolphin. There's a couple of blog posts. There's like 2 videos from 11 years ago. I think what's interesting about this kind of series of cars is that it was originally introduced by Aristo-Craft Hitec to establish their hobby grade radio systems. So as we get into the box, we see that we've got the Dolphin with a plain body. It's a little dirty. We're going on 36 years now that this has been around. Even the wheels are dirty. They don't look like they're used, they're just kind of covered in dirt and grime. But the chassis is mint. The body is mint, no cracks, no wear and tear on the tires or the chassis. Thin film of oil on this. So this box was soaked in oil, I think. So we've got the front bumper, which gets bolted on. We've got the Aristo-Craft Hitec Challenger 260 radio. There's something wrong with this. There's kind of something rattling around inside, and the on-off switch is locked. So there's the battery pack. Got throttle trim and steering trim, and a nice foam grip. It's actually a decent feeling radio. One thing that's kind of cool about this is the spare parts that come with it. So we've got a little bag here with tools with an additional pinion gear and a battery connector with pins. We've got a spare set of gears for the transmission. We've got a spare set of drive shafts, a outdrive cup and a couple extra spare links for the chain. There's a chain that connects the rear transmission to the front differential. That travels through the middle of the chassis. Alright, so let me go ahead and pop off the body on this. So these you kind of want to squeeze the back end and pull it back up and pull it through from the front. One of the weak points on these cars is the front steering servo mount. Front bumper's kind of cool. It's got these little grommets here. Rubber grommets to help take some of that impact force, and so it slips over these two posts that stick out, and then you get screwed in from the back, and then you've got kind of the shock absorbing system up front where you've got these rubber grommets as well as the flex of the bumper. So that's kind of unique. I haven't seen that before. So this chassis is actually kind of a clone, or it's very similar to the Marui Samurai chassis. That transmission does not feel very smooth. It's very tight. So this wheel's loose. So back in the day, a lot of these cars relied on friction to lock the wheels to the drive shaft or the axles, and this is no different. So basically, you have this kind of, on the inside you have a taper, so they're relying on that taper to kind of lock up. And then on the outside face you've got knurling, which is supposed to engage this plastic here. So it's not really a positive engagement. I don't know why they did that, but I know the Hirobos are like that, or some of them, at least the ones I've seen. The differential on this is locked up. I'll have to look into that. It has a gear diff, so it shouldn't be locked up like that. On the left hand side of the car there's a little cover plate. So inside here we can see that sprocket. And actually I can see the problem already. There's a set screw for that drive gear and it's loose. There we go. I got drive all wheels. But these differentials are locked up, so I'll have to figure out why they're locked up and why this gearbox feels so stiff. Alright, so let's look at the used Dolphin that I have, and we can look at some of the differences. It's kind of interesting. Everything is held with rubber bands, so the speed controller is held with rubber bands. The battery pack is held in place with a rubber band. Pull this body off. So this car's in pretty bad, I mean it's in okay shape, but it's got some problems. The servo mount's in good condition, usually those are broken. The frame has a crack going all the way through it here. And then these outriggers supports are also pretty badly cracked on both sides. It looked like they had a meltdown at some point because this whole frame section around the battery has warped due to excessive heat. So this is running the Hitec radio gear, Hitec speed controller, Hitec servo. However, this shock, I don't recognize this shock. It looks very similar to the other Hitec shocks, but it has small different, the gold coloring is a giveaway, and then I think that's the big thing, is just the gold coloring. It's gold, and I don't recall any of the other vehicles on this platform having gold shocks. The other thing that's kind of interesting is that this car is all plastic, right? There's not really any aluminum bits on it. Here we've got some aluminum uprights, and they almost look like a Kyosho style knuckle. So that's kind of interesting to me. I don't know if they made aftermarket parts for these cars, but I would guess these are Kyosho style knuckles. If they're not, go ahead and comment below. But it's kind of cool that someone got it to work, and it looks stock. Here we can see that the differentials in this car actually work. So the gear train on this car actually feels a hell of a lot better than the gear train on the new unboxed car. Maybe this thing's just locked up after 36 years of sitting in a box, and so that those differentials need to be taken apart and serviced, whereas this was run at some point and those differentials actually feel pretty smooth and loose. This is not engaged. So that differential is actually broken on that one. So yeah, this car's definitely been driven and loved at one point, but it needs some work to get it back up and running. Alright, that's all I got. Thanks for tuning into the channel and watching. Take care. Bye.